Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and I originally was going to have this video be just a video about me sketching in ballpoint pen, but it didn't go how I wanted it to, so now it's going to be turned into it's okay to make bad art. And what I mean by bad art isn't necessarily a super negative thing, it just means that it doesn't turn out how you want it to, but in the end, I don't think that it's all negative because I learn something from everything that I draw, no matter if it turns out how I want it to or not. With the last sketchbook spread that I did in pencil, I realized how much I was heavily relying on the eraser, so I wanted to do this portrait in pen so that I wouldn't rely as much on the eraser and it would force me to look at shapes and have a lighter hand when I'm drawing. And I'm just using a Bic round stick blue pen. So I went in first with all the guidelines and started mapping out the face by drawing in the nose, the eyes, and then big facial features like that. At first I was doing really good with keeping a light hand, but when I started to draw the eyes, I pressed down a little bit more than I wanted to, and I did try to use my RTX acrylic markers to cover up the one eye that I didn't like, and it didn't work as well, but then when I went in with my white gel pen, it fixed it more. I know I said that the reason I did it in pen was so that I couldn't erase, but I also want to find a little bit of joy in my art, and if it looks really wonky, I wouldn't find any joy. As you can tell from here, the left eye is just uneven compared to the right eye. I feel like it's a little too low, but I end up making it look better later. I don't know why the eyes look so slanted on that side, but I also drew them a little too far apart, and this picture just didn't turn out how I wanted to, but I was using it as practice because I really struggle to draw people, so I try to draw them as often as possible so that I can get better at it. And what better way to do that than in something that you can't erase? And I wouldn't even say that this is really bad art. I just wasn't happy with how it turned out, and I feel like I could do better, so I didn't want to make a tutorial on how I sketched in ballpoint pen when I wasn't super happy with the results. Back to why it's okay to make bad art. So in all of my sketchbooks, I have art that I am not super happy with the result, or I think that doesn't look good, and I will show all those pieces at the end of this video. But the whole thing is, even though I'm not happy with those pieces, I did learn, and it's a sketchbook. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's gonna be messy pages and there's gonna be pages you don't like. That's the joy of having a sketchbook, is learning and practicing and improving. Yes, there's gonna be stuff you're not happy with, but that's just part of the journey. As I draw more and more, I'm also finding out that there are a lot of drawings that I love and just think turn out really good compared to the ones that I don't think turn out, which means that I am improving in my art and my skills, so it's always a positive thing. I think also when you're experimenting, trying different styles and doing things like that in your sketchbook, and it doesn't always turn out the way you want it, you still learn from that experience and you can change it up next time to where it fits how you want it. And I know I can be a little bit harsher on myself, just like every artist is, and some of the things you'll see, you'll be like, man, I don't think it's really that bad, but as artists we do judge ourselves pretty harshly, and it's just things that I find I wasn't super happy with. I do really like how the lips and the nose turned out in this piece because I feel like I do struggle with that as well. And the hair shape wasn't bad. I think I just add too many lines and not enough blockier shapes. I'm still working on how to stylize hair. I have a couple of artists that I really like their drawings and how they simplify it, But on this one, like I said, I just went too detailed and added too many lines, and it just looks really messy. I think also that the reason this piece didn't turn out as well is because I was trying to be really quick with my sketches and I wasn't taking my time. And here's where I went in with the acrylic marker, and it just made this eye look really, really blue. And I ended up fixing it a little bit later. It still looks off, but I don't know. I really didn't like the way it was turning out, and at this point it was kind of annoying me, and I really wanted to stop drawing this portrait, but I pushed through it and I end up finishing it, and it doesn't turn out awful, just not exactly what I want. Also, if you guys have any tips or videos or artists that you want to recommend to me for portraits, I could always use extra tips and extra help in that area since it is something I struggle with. So definitely leave those recommendations down in the comments. But yeah, I try to realize in my sketchbooks too that not every piece needs to be just a finished masterpiece, because it is a sketchbook, so there's going to be a lot of sketching and stuff like that in it. And I know, especially in social media and on YouTube, that everybody always has the most perfect sketchbooks and stuff like that, but it's not natural. Like, it's not how normal artists draw, and forcing yourself to make masterpiece after masterpiece can definitely lead to art block. And I think that's why I've been struggling too, because I want to draw the best things for you guys, but I also want to show the good and the bad in my sketchbook. So here's one of those videos. Making bad art can be very therapeutic as well, because there's not those expectations and standards. When a piece isn't going your way, what's the worst that can happen? You know, it already doesn't look how you want it. So if you just keep trying to move things around and try to make it better, it's not going to hurt it. Drawing in ballpoint pen is also very good practice for artists because you can't erase, and a lot of times it will help you with line thickness and stuff like that. Whereas if you used a pencil, yes, you can sketch a lot with it. And I'm not saying that other art supplies are bad to use. I just think it's really beneficial to use a ballpoint pen every once in a while to do some sketches. But yeah, I'm going to let you watch some of the rest of this video, and I'll be back when I show the other sketchbooks. So I added the Hawaiian flower because I felt like this page felt very blank, and obviously the flower didn't turn out how I wanted as well, but the page isn't blank. So after I drew the flower, I was thinking to myself, well, the page can't get any worse, honestly, so I did draw another portrait. I'm also really trying to draw different views of the face because I have a habit of drawing the same position over and over again, and it's obviously not helping me improve, so I try to draw the head tilted. I think I'm not as good drawing faces straight on. I feel like I'm a little bit better at drawing them in the 3/4 view. I don't know why that is because I know a lot of other artists struggle with that view, but I tend to like it a lot more than the one that I did first on this page. In the reference, this guy was wearing a beanie and had these round glasses, and I really liked it, so that's why I decided to draw this. Literally nothing else, that was the only reason. And I think because it was a different angle of the face as well, it helped me not feel so frustrated that I can't draw the front view. But again, as always, I start out mapping the face, putting the center line down the face and putting where the nose is going to go and where the eyes are going to go. And I lightly sketched in the glasses because I wanted to draw the eyes behind them, so I drew the glasses first, and it kind of gave me a reference area where I needed to put the eyes. At this point, I knew that this page was going to be a bust, so I didn't feel pressured to make this piece look really good, and I think it turned out better than the first one. So it just goes to show, when you are not putting the pressure on yourself, how comfortable you feel and how much better your art looks. I'm not saying this is the best portrait ever. I'm just saying the more I warmed up and the more I drew, the more comfortable I became and the better the art turned out. I still wouldn't consider this page just the best page in my sketchbook, and it's definitely one that I don't really like looking at, but it was practice, and in the end, it doesn't matter. I even have a page in this sketchbook that I covered up, drew over, because I hated it so much and I did not like the way the drawing turned out. But that rarely happens. I was just so mad and really hated looking at it, so I ended up drawing on another piece of paper and just gluing that over the one I didn't like. And now I like it a lot more, so in the end, it is okay to do that. I don't prefer doing that just because I like to look back and learn from the things I've drawn, but it was just making me angry every time I opened my sketchbook and saw that page, so it was more worth it to me to cover it up. I bet you'll never guess, but it was a drawing of a person. I drew the neck way too thick on this portrait as well, but I like how the face shape turned out on this piece. And I think I captured his expression really well in the reference photo. Okay, so here is the start of the pieces that I am not a huge fan of. These dog sketches aren't even really finished because I didn't like them. This bleed through and the lines were too thick. This page was super sketchy and not finished, obviously. This lady just looks really weird. I think her features are too small. And this bottom girl looks very creepy. Don't like the expression. The top portrait I was actually super happy with, so I can't believe I created the bottom one after. This didn't finish. This piece I didn't really like the colors, but it's not as bad as some of the other things. I got super bored, so I just got all my markers and went crazy on this page. This was from an old sketchbook. I like this idea, didn't execute it. The nose is way off. It's a human portrait. Didn't even fill in the face. Nothing's proportional on this one. I drew with an erasable pen and it smudged everywhere. This was the last portrait that I did on this page and it didn't turn out. The deer and the bird just look really weird and I can't put my finger on why. This CD was way too chunky. The duck is weird colors. I colored out his face because it turned out so bad. This leopard gecko was way too fat, and this one had bleed through and the sketch wasn't very good. These ladies, obviously more portrait practice. I need more help because they did not turn out how I wanted to at all, and I shouldn't have even colored those eyes in because they look weird. This one, I just wanted to use my acrylic markers. This one, the gloves look like bananas, and this is where I try to do a self-portrait in weird colors. All this just goes to show that I am not a perfect artist, and I do have art that I'm not happy with. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.